My name is Jeremy Nolan. I am the chef of Brauhaus Schmitz and Bursthaus Schmitz here in Philadelphia. Opened 6 years ago. We opened in 2009, and when we first opened, we were very traditional. Like, that was our thing, being a really traditional German beer hall, really good beer list, really traditional German foods. And 3 or 4 months into it, we started doing specials, and that was where I started bringing back that modern German thing again. Like, I started doing it. I didn't coin this phrase, new German cooking, at the time. I was just making really modern, updated German specials, and it really took off. Like, the response was amazing. Everyone loved it, and we were started to get more, like, better reviews. We started getting, like, press. Like, we won the Best of Philly award, and then from there, it just kind of like snowball effect, and we just kept getting bigger and bigger. So New German Cooking came out in January 2015. This has been a 2.5-year process, from writing the proposal, having our agent shop it around until she finally found a publisher that was interested. So the book is basically like all of our German-inspired cooking in the U.S. It's not something you'll find in Germany. Some dishes you'll definitely find in Germany, but it's not like a compendium of new German cooking in Germany. It's our version of German cooking in the U.S. A lot of the stuff started as specials in the restaurant, where every week we would do different specials, and the ones that were like winners we would definitely write down and use it again. Some of them have made it onto the restaurant menu.
Okay, hi, my name is Beate Schartner. I work here at Brauhaus Schmitz. I'm one of the managers, and also take care of special events like Oktoberfest, Mayfest, and all the good festival stuff. I also try to bring good German beers to the American market. The city I'm from is Passau. It's about an hour and a half from Munich, Lower Bavaria. I actually lived in Munich for a couple of years before I came to America, and I met my husband there. I know Doug Hager from back in the days from Ludwigsgarten. It used to be a German restaurant up on Samson Street, so I worked with Doug there, and Ludwigsgarten closed down, and there was no German restaurant in Philadelphia anymore. No German beer. It was really very sad. So Doug and his wife decided to open up Brauhaus Schmitz. He actually asked me to join Brauhaus Schmitz, and this is how I came here to work.
I was actually born in California, but grew up outside of Philadelphia in Berks County, which is a really big German cultured area, and that's kind of how I got started with this whole thing, from being a little kid, going to like the Oktoberfest in Reading, going to the clubs. There was German restaurants like the Alpenhof. I went to a lot of those places growing up, and I just like kind of got immersed in this culture and loved the food, like the atmosphere. Even though I couldn't drink when I was really little, I just liked that whole Oktoberfest atmosphere, and it's really cool. So I just kind of always had that like love of German culture and food and stuff like that. When I graduated high school, I started working at the Liederkranz, which is the premier German club. It's the bigger club. It's a really big membership. They have one of the oldest Oktoberfests in Pennsylvania. And I really just started learning more about German cooking. Eventually came down to Philadelphia in about 2006. And, there's not many German restaurants. Like, every city might have one or two or something, but not a lot of it. So I couldn't even find a job cooking German food. And so my wife and I were actually talking about opening a German restaurant when a friend of mine texted me and said 2 of his friends were opening a German restaurant. And so we, basically joined forces with them. So my wife and I were hired to be the executive chef and the pastry chef of Brauhaus Schmitz.
The best beers are the German beers in the whole wide world, I would say. And I definitely have an attachment to beers from my hometown. And I had the opportunity to bring some beers over from there. Ondorfer is wheat beer brewery, was the first on my list. I actually approached the brewmaster and said I really, really would like to have his beer here in America at Brauhaus Schmitz. He really didn't want to hear anything about it. I mean, brewmaster, he was very sensitive about his beers, like very afraid the travel might change the taste of the beer. Science Ondorfer wheat beer is not pasteurized, and it might change in the travels, and he really didn't want to do it at first. He wanted to know all about the system, the equipment, how we pour, because that's another issue. It's very, very difficult, like the beer gotta have the proper glass, the proper pour, the proper pressure with the gas and everything. So it's everything has to be perfect, perfect beer, perfect glass, perfect pour. And especially here in America, that is something you actually don't get. You get all the beers in a pint glass. You don't get a head on there. And I mean, I think it just really changes the flavor of the beers. You know, if everything perfect, and that's also you needed to make someone in Germany understand, like, listen, you know, it's going to be the proper way. So I approached him a couple of times, and he kept saying no. And then finally, on one of my visits to Germany, I just sat down with him and had a long conversation with him. I said, I really, really want your beer. It's the best beer. I mean, I really would like to have it. And then he said, on the end of the conversation, he's like, okay, let's give it a try. Well, we just had, like a couple of months ago, we just had new releases. Like one was the Rothaus, the Tonnenzäpfle. It is a Pilsner from the Black Forest. We were actually the first place in America pouring it. We had like the release party here at Brauhaus. Obviously you can get it somewhere else right now, but not in Pennsylvania. The same with the Füchschen alt beer. Kind of, we always wanted an alt beer. I mean, alt beer is a style you actually could not get in the American market. The breweries, they usually don't sell it anywhere else but in the city of Düsseldorf. You rarely get it anywhere else. In Germany, beers are very regional, you know, very different from here, that the beers, like, you just have, like, wherever you at, you have the regional breweries and regional beers. So alt beer obviously one of them, and we trying to get, like, for years tried to get alt beer in, and nobody really wanted to have anything to do with it. Everybody's like, no, it's not going to sell, and they were very afraid that it would be not worthwhile to actually bring over the beers. Obviously we kept pushing. We actually talked to the Schalten brothers a couple of times, you know, we really want the alt beer, different importers, and then finally the Schalten brothers were able to get the Füchschen alt in for us, and we just had the release party for that. It was actually the first time available in the United States.
This first dish here is Spätzle mit Schinken, which just basically means Spätzle with ham. I don't know if there's a proper translation for Spätzle in English, but noodles. So we use a Westphalian ham. It's a smoky ham similar to a smoked prosciutto. It gets sauteed with shallots, a little bit of garlic, the Westphalian ham, peas, and then the Spätzle with a little bit of cream, and then we top it with a nice aged Gouda. And we're pouring it here with this Füchschen alt beer, which is a new beer for us.
Yeah, this is the beer we talked about before. We had the new release not too long ago. Alt beer is regional beer from the city of Düsseldorf. It's like copper. It's a little bit on the hoppier side, not as malty as most German beers. We serve it in a 0.25 liter glass, very traditional to Düsseldorf.
This beer is a little hoppier than a lot of German beers, but not as hoppy as like an IPA or something like that. But I think it'll go well with the cream and the smoky Westphalian ham and the Spätzle and everything. And this next dish we have, this is a classic from our menu. It's called Rahmschnitzel. So it's an unbreaded schnitzel. We're using veal right here, and basically what you do is you pan sear it, and then when you remove the veal so it doesn't overcook, and then we're going to add some shallots, some oyster mushrooms, and then we're going to put a little bit of brandy in there, then cream, and then we're going to add that veal back to that pan, let it cook fully through, and then we plate it. So it's really a simple dish, mainstay of our menu. This one is not on our menu, but this comes from the cookbook. And then we're pairing that with the Traunstein-Zwickel.
Yeah, that is the Traunstein-Zwickel beer. That is a beer from a brewery about 30 minutes, probably about an hour from Munich, between Munich and Salzburg. It's a brewery we're the only one having it in the Philadelphia area, and this is the Zwickel beer. It's very crisp, easy drinking. It's an unfiltered lager, so it means it's got all the vitamin E still left in it. So very delicious and nutritious.
I think this one goes well with this because it's very rich. You know, it's got the brandy, the cream, the mushrooms, and I think this one's a nice crisp lager that'll go well with that.
Okay, obviously it's very important to have the right glass with the right beer. This right here is the Arkubräu Coronator. Arkubräu is a brewery, actually 30 minutes from Passau is where I'm from. And the Alcoholic Coronato, the Doppelbock, is also brought in specially for us. The brewery is a little bit outside from Passau, from my hometown, about 30 minutes. Small little brewery. They only do it one time a year for Lent season, and got like a little sweeter note to it. It's very, very delicious, very easy drinking. It's not overpowering, nothing. It's just perfect balance.
What is the alcohol percentage on it?
It's about 7.8 or 9. I'm not 100% sure. It's about 7.8.
So much higher than it tastes.
It's very smooth. It's very smooth. You don't taste the alcohol, and it's very dangerous because you just drink it, and you don't even feel like how drunk it actually is.
So why is this brewed for Lent?
Because it's Doppelbock. Obviously, back in the days, the monks especially was brewing beers for Lent season because they're not supposed to eat. But they needed something to sustain throughout the whole day, work and everything. Also, Doppelbocks is called liquid bread, so that's why it's actually
The perfect breakfast beer.
It is perfect. Like I said, liquid bread. I cannot get better than that.
Thank you. Prost.
My favorite beer is actually my favorite style of beer is Dunkelweizen. I really like the darkness, the richness, and wheat beer, obviously. Very different. It's very malty, like really, really nice style of beer. My favorite right now, I would say, is the Ondex Dunkelweizen. It's a brewery like a little bit outside from Munich. It's actually a monastery brewery on a mountain outside Munich. They also actually call it the Holy Mountain, and that is right now my favorite style. The Ondorfer Gladiator is also a very nice beer I really like. It's Weizen Doppelbock, and that's obviously from the Ondorfer brewery. What we got in just for us. Very good. This is the Ondex Dunkelweizen. Very, very delicious wheat beer, dark wheat beer.
And your favorite beer?
My absolute favorite. I do love wheat beers. Dunkelweizens are my absolute favorite. Very, very nice flavor to it, like very roastiness, easy drinking, not heavy, and
I love how you get the character of the wheat beer, but you get that roastiness in the back.
You do. You get all that flavor and everything. And then one thing, like in Bavaria, it's like the Bavarian breakfast. You actually have the Weißwurst, like the Wiener pork sausage, a pretzel, and a wheat beer, and sweet mustard, and just have it for breakfast.
Wow.
Bavarian breakfast. And then this is liquid bread too, So
Perfect.
It is
Great. Prost.
It was, I think it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we, Jeremy, Doug and Jeremy, and we went to Germany. Obviously, it's very important to build and keep the relationships with the brewmasters. We actually flew into Frankfurt. Then we went to Bamberg. We went to Nuremberg. We went to Kelheim, the Schneider Brewery. We visited there. Really good friends with Hans-Peter Drechsler. He was a couple of times already here in Philadelphia, and obviously we had to go there and visit him as well. He did a brewery tour for us, and on the end of the tour, obviously we had to try all the beers, and that was it was nice. It was a long day, a lot of beer tasting, but I guess that's.
We're about to open our third restaurant in the next few months called Whetstone Tavern. It's a departure for us because it's not a German restaurant. This one is kind of our tribute to like classic American taverns and restaurants where we're going to have a really nice wine selection, really good cocktails, both classic and modern, really big bourbon and whiskey selection, and our menu is completely American. So it's something completely different for me, having cooked German food for the past 6 years. It's kind of a departure from that, like something for us to like kind of explore a different side of cooking in the American sense. But it's really cool for us and really interesting to start like researching this stuff and really like talking about it, because it's not something I've done. In the past 6 years, I've only cooked German food, and my mindset has always been German. So now I just have to like reverse that and go back to like a completely different thing. Whetstone Tavern will be open this summer. We don't have an exact date. We're still going through the construction phase of everything, but look for it sometime this summer. The cookbook is out now. It came out in January. It's available at most Barnes & Noble. It's also available on Amazon. Or if you want it signed by me and my wife, you can get it at brauschmitz.com. There's a shopping link, and you can get the book personalized. You can even write in what you want us to write. We'll write it in, and we'll ship it to you.